Hi, I'm Sam with Mesa Properties.
And I'm Steve with Mesa Properties as well, the managing broker.
And we're here to talk to you about some things that you can expect changes in 2022 for landlords, specifically as it comes to vendors and pricing and maintenance. There wasn't a lot that changed legally in the landscape for landlords this year. There's some minor things that are out there. There's a new mold booklet that you got to give your tenants, and if you're managing your property with us, we've covered all of those details. Those are really relatively minor details. We wanted to talk more about the softer changes, the things that everybody's been hearing about, which is inflation and supply chain and all that stuff, and how we are seeing an impact in our business directly related to that, and what you can expect as a landlord, especially when it comes to repairs.
Yeah, the bottom line is pricing is going up, and it's getting harder and harder to find people to do that work. So we're having to go to several people in order to even get somebody to respond. And when they do respond back, it's going to be a lot more expensive. We have a pretty simple solution for that, and it's a way to mitigate the increased expense. And how do we do that?
Raise the rent.
Yes. So when your property manager comes to you this year, we would encourage you not to be overly soft-hearted, because hard costs have gone up. And think about even the costs that we're not paying for in terms of repairs. Your property taxes go up every year. Your insurance goes up oftentimes every year, especially with us. We've gone back and through insurance compliance, we're requiring for your safety a higher level of liability coverage in case something does happen, because lawsuits are very expensive. You want to have the proper coverage. That costs more money. So just remember that there's two sides of that equation, and it really doesn't all flow to your bottom line. That in the example of raising the rent $100 or $150, over the course of 12 months, you're probably not even going to realize a lot of that, because your expenses are going to be going up. So we just ask you to consider that and remember that next time a rent increase is going to be presented to you by your property manager.
And rents are obviously going up. Everybody knows that. And so there's a balance of not pushing your tenants out, going too crazy. We are limited in many ways in California by how much we can raise it. Currently, we're under a 10% increase due to a state of emergency that's in effect. There's basically been perpetual states of emergencies in effect since about 2017, and it's very unclear which ones limit rent increases, which ones don't. So playing it safe, we've kind of been limiting stuff to 10%, just to make sure that we're not stepping into any legal trouble there. But we are, obviously recommending rent increases, like Steve said, because prices have gone up. But also, if your house is outdated, if you've been keeping up on your increases, doesn't mean you're going to go straight to market with every single tenant. We want to make sure that's why our rent increase emails that we send you for lease renewals, those are not just automated numbers. The property manager goes through and knows your home, knows the market, knows your tenant, and looks at that and makes a wise decision, and then sends it to you for approval based on individual research into your home. These are not just it's 8% across the board.
Right.
It's every lease renewal is done on its own.
Yep.
So just to point that out. You're also noticing that if you have a vacancy, it might be taking a little bit longer. In the last year, we've rented out properties in hours. I mean, we've had a wait list. People used to ask us do you have a wait list of tenants? The answer has always been no. Now the answer has been yes. We have people who get approved, but then the property is taken.
Yeah.
And so they actually stay with us waiting for another property to come up. And so we've rented out houses the second we list them. That's not been the case so much. We're seeing some softening in rent. We first started noticing it around the holidays. Stuff always slows down. That seemed to be the case still now. If you are seeing that it's taking a little bit longer, we're starting to do some price reductions. We want to get that property rented quickly, because it's still important. We don't want it to sit on the market for a long time. Yeah,
and sitting on the market for a long time, obviously you're losing rent. But also we just had a fourplex brand new that was built in a rather difficult neighborhood, but priced pretty high in the market. And so vacant, nobody there, and it got severely damaged with vandalism and people stealing all sorts of stuff. Multiple stackable washers and dryers got stolen, stoves got stolen in a very short period of time, along with the electrical panels all getting ripped out. There are thousands of dollars in damage that's being done. So, and that happens when a home is vacant. So we would encourage you to listen to your property manager. We're aggressive at getting the right tenants in. We don't want to compromise on our background checking and screening. We feel like we have the best system in the business in terms of weeding out people, not just a credit score. It's a very intense and detailed scoring system that, even with that, is not always perfect, but it it frees you of the exposure of a fair housing complaint, which is coming from the government at a increasingly frequent level. People are secretly shopping us to make sure we're being fair housing compliant, and we're doing all of that stuff at the same time trying to keep the best tenants in the property at the best possible rent.
So just to sum it up, inflation is here. We're definitely seeing increased prices on both materials and labor. So when you get a repair estimate or bill that your property manager had done and it's a little higher than you're used to, that's completely normal. That's just across everything is costing more. We make sure you're raising the rent so that you can keep up with that, not raising it so much that you drive them out, so the property manager will be able to advise you there. And then do expect on vacancies that you may need to come down a little bit if it's taking a little bit longer to rent. Vacancy is the biggest expense that the landlord will incur, and so I want to make sure that you're minimizing that. So any questions, as always, feel free to give us a call, give your property manager a call. We are your advisor. We want to make sure that we're getting you the most money that we can and managing your property as effectively as we can.